adult content. Cover your ears, cover your children's ears, cover your dog's ears. Here we are with our positive perceptions. You cannot heal unless you learn to look at things in a different way. And so here we are, sharing the maps that help us get through these mazes of the mind. Thank you, everybody. This is Midlife Virus, and I want to say mahalo for joining me today as I join myself. Just like every episode, until I get some guests, I am up in this place all by myself. But today, that's okay, because I'm used to it, and a lot of us are used to it. We just go through life and we keep to ourselves and we worry about our problems all alone, and especially those of us that are dealing with mental health and the stigmatization. I got that word right out of my mouth. The stigmatization of mental health. And so that is a big thing that we're going to talk about in today's episode. Today, we are talking about the top 5 reasons behind the stigmatization of mental health. You know, the stigmas against mental health will often strip you of your credibility, your identity, your dignity as the figment of another's imagination. And what I mean by that is many people, because their awareness of what mental health is, they will place an implicit bias upon you, and your credibility goes out the window because you've got depression, or it goes out the window because you've got PTSD or anxiety or some kind of phobia or whatever, right? And so what we want to talk about today is the top 5 reasons that happens, what we can do to educate and bring awareness to it and fight it. You know what I mean? How to rise up and get past the stigmas. Stigmas happen everywhere. You know what I mean? They're super popular. It's almost like they are built in. They're presets to people. Oftentimes they are. And you could actually call it implicit bias that, right? A preset. And so what we want to do is we want to create some cognitive dissonance and shake it up a bit. You know what I mean? That's how you create new neurons and new ways of thinking, is by talking about those things. So today, let's dive in and have a mental health moment and talk about the top 5 reasons behind mental health stigmatization. All right, so number 1, the lack of awareness, right, or understanding. That's the primary reason. People just don't know what it is. It's scary. Your brain is your brain, and your brain is you, and within you, your brain does stuff, and you do it together. And so to think that your brain cannot have your back 100% of the time, I feel, is probably the number 1 reason why people run away from the awareness of mental health, because that is scary to look at. Now, those of us who have no choice and we have to look at it, we can talk all about that and tell you what it's about. That's where discussions become a healthy thing. You come in and you say, yada, 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 yada. And then the other person shakes their head and says, oh, yada, yada. And it's a thing. And solidarity begins, and people, they build a rapport. They get to know each other. That's what communication is about. And that's how you bring awareness to things, with these mutually benefiting conversations. And so, man, oh man, number 1 on the hit list today is just the lack of awareness and understanding. And so why don't we kind of dive in to what mental health is? Like, what is the condition of mental health? You could simply define a mental health condition as a set of framework that alters perceptual guidelines of life. How'd you like that? Just whoop, right out my pocket. Right? But that's what it is. Mental health alters your perceptions about the guidelines within your life. So, for example, a trigger will come into my mind. Something will set me off. A trigger will come into my mind, and my mind will be flooded with emotions and all these thoughts and not evasive, but intrusive thoughts and things. You know what I mean? Just the ugliest stuff. And so that is a condition where my mind alters. There's some kind of chemical reaction, some kind of electrical reaction within my mind that has ascertained that this is the way I'm going to react. You know what I mean? It's been bonked, it's been tweaked, something has happened. And so my awareness unto myself is to pay attention to that and work on how I unbend or retweak or re-navigate around those reactions. So my awareness becomes your awareness because we have a discussion. So number 2, the second reason on why stigmatization of mental health occurs, I kind of touched on it already, didn't even know it. Look at me. Look at me. Look at us. Look at we. It's the fear of the unknown. Yeah, the fear of just losing your mind. You know, I've been on several receiving ends of the mind losing. Yeah, and I can tell you it is scary. It's probably one of the scariest things that you're going to want to not go through. But it is also, there's a silver lining. There's a reward if you see it, if you seek it, if you can grasp it. There's a reward because humility comes with that. It's just like when you survive something, you realize what your limits are. You also get to learn what your limitations are. So it's up the spectrum and down the spectrum. Right? So when you have a mental health issue, you get to realize, this rope bridge in the Indiana Jones movie looks pretty rickety. And you know, I'm going to be a realist and say that's a rickety thing. And so I'm going to avoid this, and that would be like an example of you avoiding a trigger. I'm going to avoid this or find out how to reinforce this ricketiness. And I'm not really sure if ricketiness is a real word, but if it is, I have to make sure that this bridge's ricketitiveness, see, that wasn't even a real word, but anyway, you get my point. Your awareness of your mental health condition allows you to judge the bridge, to reinforce it, to avoid it, to know it. And so that known of the unknown is the silver lining of mental health, or mental injuries, brain injuries, traumatic brain injuries, whatever's, yeah? So the fear of the unknown is number 2. People don't know how to handle the unknown. And so your gift unto them, if you do know the known, make sure you make that known unto others. I'm going to say that slower. Make sure you make that known unto others. Share that known stuff with them so they're not freaking out. The main reason people freak out and have anxiety, I might have to rephrase that because I'm just a gibbering idiot over here. But I believe the main reason, there you go, I audited it. I believe the main reason why people freak out and have anxiety about things is because they have yet to understand that they can survive it. And once you begin to train yourself and to teach yourself and experience survival, you start to have a confidence in yourself. Even if sometimes your mental health creates a symptom that erodes your confidence, you can still hold on to that memory, hopefully, right? That you've done something, that you've created a survival technique, a path around the rickety bridge. Anyway, so number 2, the fear of the unknown. Number 3 is what really is a big meaty part of the meal, and that's the societal expectations and the stereotypes, because we all live together, we do things together, we're sitting here together, cruising, talking, living our lives, and we have these expectations, because expectations in many parts lead to really good demeanor in the public domain, right? You have an expectation to keep your pants on. I expect you to keep your pants on. Thank you very much. And when you take your pants off at the bus stop, that is crossing the line of the societal expectation, and now you are stepping into a stereotype to which, is that you are a man who takes his pants off at the bus stop. Look at that pantsless man at the bus stop. I know that stereotype. He decides to free willy dingle it at the freaking bus stop. So that stereotype is creepy, right? Unless you like free willy dingling it up at the bus stop. I personally fear the random spraying, because if a guy just has his ding dong winging about, you never know what impulse control he has already. And so I do not need a unexpected shoot down from a stranger at the bus stop. Do you know what I mean? Walking by and whoop whoop, hey, piddled on my pants. I don't need that, right? So that is me lending to the stereotype. You see how easy that was? Holy crap, this man has no pants. Let me place upon him the societal expectation and a stereotype, right? I don't know. This is where we kind of get into the conversation, because you have to define things. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? What is deemed so neurotic? You know what I mean? That it's just you cannot keep that out of you. You know, put your pants back on. Right? So number 3, the main reason why people have stigmatizations against mental health is because of social expectations. Right, here's a really good example of a social expectation. When I pass you in the morning and I say, good morning, I expect you to say good morning back. And if you don't say good morning back, I kind of raise my eyebrow, you know, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? It is a societal expectation that you say good morning back to me. And since you didn't say good morning back to me, you suck. Right? So that's an example. We also expect people to, you know, behave. You know what I mean? Right now, in December of 2023, we're almost at 2024, but right now, we have all kinds of societal expectations that are falling short. There's violence in the streets, people are fighting, all kinds of weird stuff's going on. We should be really educating to these societal expectations and not lending so much power to the stereotypes. But that's why we have conversations like this one. That's why I'm here in the middle of nowhere, talking to myself, and you're listening to my predictable gibberish, right? At least I'm entertaining. I'm hoping. I'm fishing. Yes, let's have fun together and continue this conversation. Number 4, of all the 5 reasons why people put forth mental health stigmatizations is because of the media portrayals, and the language media plays has a significant role on how people look at other people. So, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. All the cool, crazy people, the crazy. You know, even some of my favorite Gen X shows growing up, like the A-Team. The pilot, he was crazy. Yeah, everybody's crazy. All the people are crazy. That's how you strip everybody immediately of their dignity, because they're just nuts. They're unpredictable. So you can take that as a bonus and run with it and find the silver lining, which there is one. There is one. We can discuss it. Or you can learn to dictate the awareness of others and just have these discussions like what we're having today. The media portrays people with mental health as scary, sketchy, unreliable, unpredictable, impulsive, dangerous. They're gonna break any moment. Hey, the SWAT team, right? So that's a thing, and it's okay. It's okay. You got to remember the human. So I'm very, very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm very patient and tolerant with people because I understand that discriminations exist, right? I understand that there's a primal part of your brain that lives in a cave. It's your cave brain. And outside your cave is big, scary dinosaurs and spiky, poisonous things and like sulfuric acid ponds or sticky tar things, right? So your primal cave brain is like, no, I'm not going to go out there. And not only am I not going out there, I'm going to discriminate against all kinds of crap, right? So you don't want to go out there. So I understand that about people. I understand that people get implicit bias and they think certain things, and that primal cave brain kicks in and boom, you're auto discriminatory. Yes, it just kicks right in. It's like a preset. I get that. So the media just portrays that stereotype, just portrays that ancient cave brain technology, right? We've got cave brain technology. If you don't have cave brain technology, you don't know how to freaking stay in the cave. Anyway, that's the point, right? So what we want to do is we want to break away from the cave, which is really easy. You got to remember, your cave brain is old kind brain stuff. That's your old programming. You can reprogram your cave brain a little bit with some new stuff, right? And that new stuff is, oh, hey, you know what? Lithium has come up since the cave days, right? Therapy has happened since the cave days. We now know all these tools that can help with mental health. And before the cave days, with the cave brains, didn't have those tools. They had basic tools. Fear. That's a basic tool. So that's what we're seeing when we have these automatic bias, these implicit discriminatory moments where we're like, ugh, right? And the media just plays into it. Why? Because we are the media. That's what we are. We're the media. And so we just perpetuate these things because it's safe. It's known. It's known, Khaleesi. Stay in the damn cave. What's wrong with you? All right. So number 4 of the 5 major stigmas against mental health is the media portrayal of how mental health looks and works, right? Number 5. This one is clearly the personal one for all of us. It is the self-stigmatization, right? The internalized shame and the guilt we put upon ourselves because we're not blind. You know what I mean? We're not blind. I recently wrote a little reminder because a Facebook memory came up from like 2015, and I was talking about the stigmas and the dignity of PTSD and how you feel guilty. And so that right there, number 5 what would I call number 5? Number 5, I don't want to be like over dramatic, but number 5 is what leads people to suicide. Right, number 5, the self-stigma and internalized shame, because that's the one we're in, and this is really real. So I'm gonna put out a content warning right now. This is might be a trigger warning, but just breathe through it with me, okay? My darkest moments are that internalized shame, because sometimes you sit back and you think to yourself, what if? Now, what if is a killer. Unless it's positive. What if one day I'm amazingly healthy and I've got 6-pack abs, right? That what if is amazing. But the what if life would be better without me, that's the one you have to stay away from. You have to run away from it. You have to see that intrusive thought walk into the room and you say, hell no, and you get the hell out of there, because that thought is a waste of time and it's a deadly thought. You don't want to pursue it. Okay, so the internalized shame is not worth it. You don't want to do it. What you want to do is realize that it's not the burden, but it's the bounty of the journey and you destroying these obstacles, you connecting the power back into your life, you providing that example to your family. So there's a perceptual shift that you can take when you think this stigma is a negative thing, because I gotta fight this every day. So I'm just telling you what I do. This is what I do. I hear the intrusive thoughts. I rage against the fluctuations of the aggression within me and the hormones and the freaking rah, rah. I ride those like a surfer. I pay attention to them, right? And it's tough, but I can tell you how to do it. You switch it up and make it a moment of power, right? That's what you do. You tell your family, you tell your kids, you tell your friends, you're vulnerable and honest about it, and you show people that I just walked across coals. Ooh, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably burnt my toes, but I walked across coals and I'm getting better at it. Matter of fact, I think I've got calluses. Matter of fact, I think I figured something out. So that's a cool thing that you get to do to switch out the internalized shame, right? You switch up your paradigm. You attune the perception. If perception is the song, then paradigm is the channel, and you can switch the channel. It doesn't have to be the blues. Constant blues 24/7. This is the blues for you to bring you down. Today's song, You Suck. Yeah, we don't have to listen to that channel. You can switch the channel, you can switch the song. So remember that. Your perception is the song, your paradigm is the channel. And so when you start to feel the self-stigma and that internalized shame, like, son of a bitch, everybody would be better without me. Now, I'm attaching a little doofy voice to it because I want to take power away from that experience. Every time I have that intrusive voice, I make it look like that stupid little weird-nosed beagle in Bugs Bunny. Hello, Bugs Bunny. And I give him a stupid voice, so he's a stupid little dog, and I see him for what he is. You stupid little dog. What are you doing in here? No, I don't want to think everybody's a bunch of assholes. Get out of here. Right? So that's what I do. I switch up the perception. I switch up the tune. You're not a big scary asshole anymore trying to drag me off into the darkness and throw me into a pit. No, now you're a stupid little cartoon dog who's wasting my time, right? And I'm kicking you in the face, shows my family how strong I am. See that? So that's how I personally fight number 5, right? As we talk about the fight and we get to know each other, that's primarily what all this is about, right? Discussions are about personal testimony, what you figured out, what you find out. And then some people come up and say, damn, you're doing it the hard way. All you got to do is tap your throat, with a rhythm. Next thing you know, you're purring like a kitten, right? And so that's the great thing about the world. That's the great thing about humanity and why we talk to each other. So we can discuss all these variants and get to know each other, right? So, man, I remember for years, I was so upset with the quote-unquote normal people, I was so upset with them because it just didn't seem like they had the empathy to slow down enough and recognize that within the net of their stigmas, they were catching all my regular emotions. I think that was the thing that ticked me off the most, is that every single emotion I experienced just got globbed in to some kind of mental health trigger. And that was incredibly annoying because you can have regular everyday emotions in the stir fry of mental health. You can. You know what I mean? That's completely normal. And so I think a lot of people didn't realize that. And so I would just, my patience really struggled when I was younger. I think now, going through all the fires that I've gone through, I can now realize, oh, okay, cool. You are displaying number 1, the lack of awareness and understanding, and you are displaying number 2, the fear of the unknown, and you're displaying number 3, the expectation. Did you see that? That's what happens when you speak too quickly and you're so excited to explain to everybody what number 3 is: societal expectations and stereotypes. Number 4, the media portrayals and the language. See all that stuff? You can tell when people are throwing it all at you. And what you do is you tell them, the people you're friends with, because remember, your friends are the people you can have honest conversations with. That's what friends are for. That's what your marriage is about. That's what your kids are about. That's what your friends and family are about, your peers. You have this trust, this association that you should be able to say, man, I hate it when you guys just assume it's my anxiety or whatever. You know what I mean? Come on now. Let's be more honest with each other. Let's give each other our dignity, right? That's how friendships are defined, right? Is by the dignity and the gifts we give to each other. Remember, the very first gift a friend will give you is grace. Remember that. That's a true friend. The very first gift they give you is grace. And you can use that gauge when you walk forth and you're honest about your mental health. You can tell somebody, hey, I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and today sucks. And that first gift should always be grace. It should also be the first gift that you give others, right? It's an amazing gift. Just remember, it's amazing. I recommend it. 5 stars. Grace. Give it away today. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, travelers and aliens, Bigfoot, hunters, and people who don't like snails in their garden, I really want to thank you today for joining me here at Midlife Virus, talking about the stigmas against mental health. Now, if you have any issues with mental health, remember, There are national hotlines. I do not have the numbers memorized, but I will put them in the show notes. There are national hotlines. I believe it's not 911, but it might be 944, which is the newest one. Here, let's look it up. Let's look it up right now. We're right here in the Googling of the Google stuff. The Googling of the Google stuff. Mental health hotline. Boink. The emergency support 24/7 hotline is 988 is the lifeline. 988lifeline.org. If you need anyone to talk to, you always need to reach out, find therapy, find a friend. You know what I mean? You can email me. Easy to get a hold of me through the website, through the podcast. I actually write back. It's actually me, not a pre-programmed thing. You might get an auto response, but I will definitely reach back if somebody has questions, if they want to get a hold of me. It's very easy to get a hold of me. My midlifevirus@gmail.com. You can also follow me online. You can subscribe to the podcast. I am very active on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can ask the dude down the street, what the hell, you know that guy? And he'll say, yeah, it's midlifevirus.com. That's where you can find him. Anyway, once again, I want to thank everybody. Today was a short show. You know why? Sometimes I ramble in circles, and I don't know if you need me to help you go to sleep, or you're just bored while you're driving, or you're hanging on every syllable of every word I say. Anyway, I'm not sure, but today, this is what you get. We got about 30 minutes of hits and loving good songs here on midlifevirus.com radio. Anyway, I'm messing with you. I'm just trying to bleed out the show. Anyway, our next one, we're going to talk about leadership. It's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about leadership, how being a humble leader is important, how you want to lead with respect and not fear. We're going to talk about the differences. We're going to talk about how you can use the power of leadership to nudge people into opportunistic ways without doing it the wrong way, right? And so we'll talk about that on our next episode. I want to thank you for joining me today. As I joined myself, it's not so lonely when you're here with me. Okay, thank you so much, and mahalo. Aloha. And now a word from our sponsors. Funky Puppy Productions. If you need a production done, Funky Puppy Productions can do it for you. Visit us at funkypuppyproductions.com. Faceless accusations. Opinions from the street, from people you will most likely never meet, in complete anonymity and complete honesty. Faceless accusations.
Here's my complaint. Shrinkflation. We've got inflation. Now we've got shrinkflation. Well, matter of fact, we've had shrinkflation for a long time, but you know what? I found myself in a Whole Foods the other day, not by choice, but I had to wait for somebody, and I was thirsty, and so I was looking for something to drink. A lemonade. It was like an 8-ounce lemonade, and it was like $1.50. It was like a toddler had gone into business and was only selling toddler-sized lemonades. Shrinkflation at full price. Somebody's got to figure this out, because you know what? People are getting screwed. We're all getting screwed, and we're paying for it. We're paying more to get screwed for less screwing. And if it was me, I want to get more screwing for more buck. Wait, that sounded terrible. That's not what I want. I want less screwing for less expensive. Fuck it.
Faceless accusations. Opinions from the street, from people you will most likely never meet, in complete anonymity and complete honesty. Faceless accusations. Caring for mothers. MalamaYourMama.com. Malama Your Mama is an organization that is all about caring for mothers. To malama is to care. And one of the greatest gifts that we can give our mothers and new mothers is that support system that they so desperately need. Together, we can teach the world to malama our mamas, just like our mamas have malamaed us. We want to dedicate this organization and its proceeds to all the strong mothers out there that have honored us. We want to steward healthy mothers and to raise mothers up. Together, we can malama our mamas. Caring for mothers. Help us by visiting malamayourmama.com and supporting our cause. Mahalo.